The Merchant of Venice is very troubling and very difficult for modern audiences because of its virulent anti-Semitism. The play is organized around its demonization of Shylock the Jew. Keep in mind, Shylock is not the title character. The Merchant of Venice is Antonio, and Antonio is meant to be a pure Christian giver, generous to a fault, generous so much so that he is willing to sacrifice his own flesh and blood for his friend Bassanio. And this can be appealing in one sense if you look simply at Antonio and his willingness to give to Bassanio, but so much of the play is organized around how evil or how bad Shylock is. And in this, Shakespeare follows a long tradition of Christian anti-Semitism that dates back to at least John 8. And you really want to take a look at John 8. John, the Gospel of John is fundamentally different from the other synoptic, what we call the synoptic Gospels of the Christian New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, in part because it's generationally different. That is, Matthew, Mark, and Luke recount their stories of Christ and the beginning of Christianity at its early days, when Christianity could still sort of see itself as a Jewish sect, that is a part of Judaism itself, which was trying to broaden or open Judaism to the Gentile world. That was, after all, Paul's mission. In other words, those early Christians were really Jews, and they thought of themselves as Jews, broadening Judaism. But a few decades later, when John is writing and he's giving his account of Christ, Christianity is feeling the need, like any religion, like any group, to fashion itself or identify itself. And unfortunately, it fashions or identifies itself by saying what it's not or saying what its other is. And in John, you'll see that the gospel there gives Christ some very scary language. Christ there is talking to the Jews, and the Jews are saying, hey, why can't we figure out some way of getting along? You're one of us. You know, we're both from Father Abraham. And this is an appeal that Shylock will make in the play as well. And Jesus, or at least John has Jesus answered, no, you're not one of us. You know, we don't have a common father. Your father is the devil. Your father is the devil, he says to the Jews. I was there before Abraham. So this is a fundamental change for Jewish Christians. You can see a couple decades down the road, they are trying to identify or carve out a specific identity for themselves that is completely separate from Judaism, and in so doing, they're demonizing the Jew. And how they demonize the Jew is they say, look, you guys are wedded to the law, strict interpretation of the law. You are wedded to exchange and economy. You are bloodthirsty. You are calculating. The Christian, by definition, is fundamentally different. The Christian is a giver. The Christian is interested in pure mercy, a mercy like God's. And we'll see Shakespeare try to articulate that vision of Christianity in The Merchant of Venice by making Shylock hyper exchangeist, a hyper legally minded character who's only interested in a pound for a pound, flesh for a flesh, while trying to figure Antonio and his friends, the Christians, as the Venetian Christians, as being merciful and givers. But the fact of the matter is, as the play sort of spins itself out, as plays itself out, all the Christian gestures of giving and true mercy turned out to be rather hypocritical. And I don't think that's because Shakespeare in any way is self-reflective about that. It's simply the way that all those narratives tend to sort of turn back on themselves. The play is troubling too, or especially troubling too, generically, because it's a comedy. In other words, when after Shylock is stripped of his religion, he's forced to convert, he's lost his daughter, he's lost his money, he's lost his house, he's been humiliated. We're supposed to take that as in stride as an audience and go on to this Act 5. Go on to this Act 5 where we find the traditional couplings or marriages that end a comedy and supposed to signify this Christian unity of all becoming one in Christ. But it's deeply troubling for a modern audience because we can quite clearly see what's happened to Shylock. He doesn't He doesn't fit. He's been excluded. He's been scapegoated in some way.